Hello, welcome to Psieros.Psychic.Signs. Today we are going to be looking at some more psychic auric artwork. Now this is actually the same piece from the last video that I did. This is how it's turned out so far. I don't particularly like it. It's not what it's supposed to be. It is what it is, but it's not what I want it to be. And I don't think that if the piece had a say in it, which I believe that it doesn't want to be like this. It doesn't want to be this way, man. It doesn't want to live like this forever, you know. It's a sorry state of affairs for the piece. It does not wish to be this way. It wants to be more. It can be more. It can be so much more with itself. You know, maybe that is a representation, as I believe all these things that we do creatively, certainly, all these things we do creatively, I believe, are an expression of something of us. Unfortunately, for me personally, it takes a lot of emotional processing to understand the symbology of what is this. You know, I could look at this as it is now and describe to you how this is an analogue to how I feel. Anyway, you know, I could say, well, people have said this looks like a wizard. I do feel myself to be somewhat like a wizard. It also looks like a bird. I noticed that it does have the sensation as I was creating it. It wants to become the bird. I've got this long-term story that I'm working on called The Colour Bird, which is a children's story. I guess it's a children's story, but it's one of those ones that will work for adults and children. And it's also that the colour bird is a metaphor for personal transformation, and also the relationship between a teacher, I suppose, and a student, in terms of how we can learn personal growth. And then when you come to know yourself as both equal but in a higher state of consciousness than you were when you began, both of you. Whatever, I don't know. So yeah, so we've got this blue thing. It's not the colours that are wrong, you know, it's this scratchy stuff. It's got its own excitement to it, I suppose, but it's not what I want it to be forever. All this scratchy stuff, it looks kind of cool, right? And that scratchy feeling was there on the previous incarnation before I started going over it in the last video. This piece has been going on for a while now. and it's still like, it still doesn't know exactly what it wants to be, as I said before. It feels like it wants to be the colour bird, but it also wants to be a flower. It wants to be a flower before now it wants to be a wizard. You know, make up your fucking mind. Sorry for the swearing, I do swear a lot. Well, I have been known to swear a lot. So, I'll just go through the rules that I'm using on this piece. So I've got these sets of acrylic paints I've got from Wilko for £2 each. And there are, what, 12 in there? Yeah, 12, and I've got loads of them. I cleared out the whole of Wilko's supply of acrylic, of these sets of acrylics, because I was like, damn you, it was revenge buying. This is revenge for all the times I've been into any shop ever and known that they had the thing that I wanted, got there, and it wasn't there that time. But the first time I went there, they had it, but I wasn't ready to buy it. I didn't have the money, or I wasn't quite sure. And then when I was sure, I've gone there to get the item, and it's not been there. This is revenge buying. Taking revenge on the shop, you know. There was 7 of them to begin with. I used one already. So this is one set of paints worth of painting. And that's how I did all the layers before as well. Each layer is one tube. One tube of these. And also another rule is I refuse in this piece to use anything other than this specific brush. it's the one brush, one tube rule, and the rule is it's going to keep going until. Hold on. So we get some paper to dry my brush. It will keep going. This piece, you are going to keep going. You are until you are comfortable with yourself, knowing who you are and what you want to be, and and at that point you become self-sustaining. Then I don't have to add to you anymore. You know, when your vibrancy reaches its pinnacle, you will carry on, and I will release you into the wild. I will hold you and cherish you for a while, and I will then release you into the wild. This is the area where my signature is going to be in the future. It feels like maybe at the moment this is an aquos piece, so each of my different channels, call them channels. Channels is a good way. Number one, let's put this down. Channels is a good word for it, because even though, let's start again. Channels is a good word for the different aspects of myself that I channel. The channel on YouTube, I'm channeling different parts of myself. I'm channeling different reservoirs of knowledge. I'm channeling different activities, different behaviors. This at the moment is, and there's somewhat arbitrary each channel, because Psieros comes into Earthos, and Psieros comes into Psieros, and Aquos and Psieros. They're all intermingled, all the different channels. This has the feeling of Eros. My mum said that it felt like something taking off, and I can see that as well. Yeah, it's like the bird, this two-wing thing, the head and the thing actually looks a bit like a wicker man. That's the scary side, the shadow side. So Psieros, this channel here has a flavour of the shadow in it, and we're dealing with the shadow as well, because there's a lot of the shadow aspects in life that we're not dealing with, and it comes in quite often with the psychic realm, because obviously psychic is to do with death, isn't it? A lot of the time we're trying to contact people who are deceased, we're trying to do mediumship, and we're trying to contact the spirit world, which is not available to us in the physical realm, so we have to use our psychic abilities to access that realm. So there is the shadow aspect, because the shadow self and the shadow side of our psyches is to do with death, it's to do with loss, it's to do with the things we don't want to face, it's to do with denial, it's to do with grief, it's to do with trauma, it's all to do with the suffering of life, as opposed to the other facets of life, like the fullness of life and joy of life and wisdom and things like this. But without facing the shadow, we don't get to access the fullness of joy and the fullness of wisdom and the fullness of compassion, because in the facing of the shadow we learn compassion, we learn wisdom, we learn truth in a deeper way. So that's that. So yeah, we've got all these scratchy things, which I suppose could be symbolic of anger. The scratchy things come at the last minute. They're always on the last sorry, heavy work doing this speaking. They always come at the last layer. So in the previous set of incarnations of this piece, there would be a scratch at the end, like the layer before, or just like the penultimate layer or something would have this scratchy feeling, where I get kind of angry that it's not what it's supposed to be. So I've gone through the whole tube, or even I've gone through the whole set of tubes, sometimes doing like 2 whole packets at a time, and it gets to the end and I'm like, I'm knackered, and it's still not what it's supposed to be. So I mean, you could say at any point in this journey, I could just say, yeah, that's it, it's done, and I could just leave it. And there will come a point where that will feel like the authentic thing to say, and to actually leave it, even if sometimes things don't feel finished, but you know that they are. So the knowing overrides the feeling. You know that this does feel a bit fractured still, but the knowing is that, well, this is the truth. So when you've really accurately represented the truth of whatever this wants to be, or whatever it is, that the feeling of dissatisfaction, or the feeling of unresolution or whatever, or like fracturedness or incompleteness, that feeling is part of what it is as well, because the feeling of incompleteness is a part of life as well, isn't it? So if you want to be a whole enlightened, awakened being, you have to still acknowledge the things that you don't want to be, the things that you didn't want to happen, the things that you didn't enjoy, because to deny those things is that's becoming unconscious to them, becoming spiritually unconscious, becoming unawake. See? So it's all a tricky thing. So so there will come a time, I don't think it's now, because I can do something about this part. There's a time when you go, there's nothing else I can do that will actually improve this. There's nothing else that I can do that will make it more itself. There's nothing I can do that will enhance it. There's nothing I can do that will bring it forward. There's nothing I can do that will brighten it or darken it or whatever, you know, intensify its truth or its nature. We're not there yet, because there's things I can do here, for example. There's things I can do here. There's things I can do here. This is vague. I look at these things quite often in terms of how does it appear to me in terms of clarity and vagueness. So this looks cloudy. And this doesn't look cloudy. This looks like it needs something to fill this area more. So I feel it as a kind of 3D. It's not, you probably can't see very much of it at all, but it's actually not necessary to see it, because it's more about how I perceive it and how I'm trying to teach you, in a sense, how to perceive and how to work in this sort of holistic way with regards to art, rather than just in terms of vision. Oftentimes we do artworks that come from basically the level of mind, or solely on the level of mind, or like solely on the level of emotion. So what I'm attempting to do, I suppose, if I think about it really deeply, is to express the fullness of being in a piece, which is to say mind, emotion, physicality, sexuality, you know, life situation, aura, energy, spirit, suffering, joy, fullness, everything, all in one piece. But that may not look like how you might imagine it to be, or you may have millions of different ways that you can express the fullness of life, or the totality of existence, or your fullness of being, whatever. There's millions of different ways that you could put that on a canvas, and this just happens to be one of them. But it needs to feel like it's right. It needs to feel like it's complete to the fullest that it can be. Yeah. So as I was saying, I'm trying to teach you to go beyond just drawing imagery. There's most things that we come across in the art world are drawn from a place of mind or imagery, so that they're drawn as a picture. This is not a picture. This is more a potential for seeing. Or potential for feeling, potential for being. This is an expression of whatever you bring to it. It has its form, it has its color and its shape, but you are going to bring yourself to this and see what you see. You are only ever going to see what you see. You're not going to see what someone else sees directly. If someone else says, "Oh, I see a wizard in there," you may be able to change your perception to see a wizard in there. If someone says, "Oh, they see an ugly duckling in there," you will then have to change your perception to read into this piece as an ugly duckling. I like to think of most of my work as a projection exercise, a bit like the Rorschach test, where you're like bringing you're bringing your psyche, your emotions, your mind to the piece, and it's showing you what's there, and that changes as well. So a friend of mine said, "I'm going to have to finish with this piece soon." He says, "You're going to have to finish with this piece soon." I was like, "Yeah, it's rare that what people say stick in my head, because usually I've got too much of my own crap in my own head to deal with. But this one's stuck in my head. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I know I need to finish it soon. I need to be. He said, you need to finish with it. He didn't say you need to finish it. He said you need to finish with it. Finish with it. You know, which implies like get done with it. Complete your feelings about it. Get to the end of how you feel about it. You know, so and therefore it also seems to be representative of other things in my life. So it could be this relationship that I'm still processing, that this is related to. So to get finished with the piece means to get finished with a piece of that relationship, for example, or a piece of me, and to get done with something, to pull something out of me and to have it finished and complete. If you see what I'm saying. So this area, I don't like the scratchiness. You know, there's too much scratchiness, and that can be remedied just for paint over it. You'll still be able to see the remnants of the scratchiness, which would be nice. This is very what's the word? Textured. So it's a very textured piece, which is nice. And the other thing as well is, it just depends. It depends how you look at these things. The longer you look at this, the more alive it seems to come. Yeah, it comes alive more. It seems to be brighter and more rich, and so on. And so technically, I can finish with the piece just by observing it. You know, what if I can do the work inside my heart just by using this as the stimulus? I could do it that way, but that feels kind of boring. It's a drag. You know, I'd rather finish in an active sense. So let's get started. So what am I going to start with? Here's the other rules. So you've got these paints, right? And now originally I had a rule, another rule, which is something to do with the order. Right? Maybe I started at one end and finished at the other. I can't remember what the rule is now. So maybe it's about choosing, because this started when I was coming through the end of a certain phase, which is where I would start with like no intention at all, apart from to just do something, and it's just a case of bringing it forward. However, I need to start accepting the level of mind and imagery as well. You know, I've been kind of trying to avoid that. I don't want it to form into an image. There's a part of me that whenever it starts to form into an image, like, oh, this is a circle, this is a bird, there's a part of me that says, no, I don't want it to be an image. I want it to be formless. I want it to be abstract. I want it to be as clear a projectable surface as possible. So you look at it and you're going to bring your perceptions into that more than it's less objective. Basically, it's very, very subjective. I want to try and bring a real clarity of subjective experience to this piece. Now obviously I'm touching here, so this probably needs to be looked at. This area needs to be looked at. I feel it's a bit too bare. This feels dry. This is just cloudy. It's a mess. So I don't like thinking too much as well. This one's poking out. I mean, let's just use this one. So the more you sit and ponder about things, you don't actually fucking enjoy it. Sometimes it can be enjoyable to ponder, but this is not a pondering moment. So using the old green here, and I have a feeling I may have to break one of my rules, such as not using the whole thing, and start to diversify, because it could be that one of the reasons, and I feel like it is one of the reasons that this is not complete yet, is the rule is restricting it from completing itself. You know, it always feels dangerous. Right, now I started, let's ruin it. Let's ruin it. Hey, that's that fearlessness I was talking about in the previous video. Yeah, let's just ruin it. Oh, that's not there anymore. Oh, God. So all the love that we had, all the time that we just spent with this, is being destroyed before ever. I just want to throw things at it right now. This is not going quick enough. Come on, come on, cover it up. But however, you see, this is one of the things I trust in the process. Trust in the process. Oh yes, I'm going to move it back a bit so that I can get in camera. Trust in the process is one of my big whatevers. So look, let's look at this right now. I want to destroy this whole thing, and I'm like, right, I've started it now. Let's destroy it because I may as well just commit. And but look, what's already there is shaping how I'm covering it, which I find an interesting concept. So what is already there, I'm trying to get rid of it because I don't like it, but I'm obviously consciously going to the places I don't like the most. So I'm destroying the things that I hate the most here. So that's giving it rise to a new form. You see, the structure of destruction reveals the shape of creation. Little saying I came up with ages ago. The structure of destruction reveals the shape of creation. So look, I'm constantly destroying things basically. The first thing I destroyed was the blankness of the white canvas. Got rid of that by putting shapes and colours on it. Then I got rid of those shapes and colours by destroying it and overlaying something new. So constantly, this is one aspect I find interesting, is there's a constant interplay between Cretaceous, the Jurassic period. Yeah, it's a Christmas tree in a sense. No, God, Christmas trees are everywhere at the moment for me. If you check out any of my other, it's a Christmas tree. It's starting to become a bloody Christmas tree, isn't it? I don't know what you can see, but that's a Christmas tree all the way through. That is. Let's get some better lighting on this. Ow, 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 ow. Better? A little bit. Fucking Christmas tree. Now, I did not start out with the intention to make that a Christmas tree, but that is a Christmas tree, isn't it? Let's make that more of a Christmas tree. Haha. And that came out because I was destroying the things I didn't like in the last one, which I find very, very interesting. This looks like, get out of the way, I don't want that there. So, marvellous. What a thing. So we've got these Christmas trees here, right? And there you go. And I did have a subtle intention, actually, to turn it into a Christmas tree, but I'd completely forgotten about it. I was like, oh, I wanted to give it the spirit of the Christmas trees, so I really like these. I've just destroyed that. No, I haven't. I wanted to give it the spirit of the Christmas trees, but I don't want it to be like, oh, just a picture of a Christmas tree, because it's rubbish. And I completely forgot about that before I started. Yeah. Right. Come on, you. I swear that can give it better. There you go. Right. Let's go to the green. No, let's not. I don't want it to be a Christmas tree. I have the feeling that it possibly, no matter how hard I try to destroy this, it's going to end up being a fucking Christmas tree, isn't it? Well, black. Black it can destroy. Black is the destroying colour because it will cover up everything that it touches. Rah! Let us destroy with the black. Come on now. I feel like we're going more into the realm of mind. Whereas on the last video, if you go check that out, it was more abstract and emotional and auric. Now, as I keep speaking about the level of mind, so now we're talking about imagery, experience, memory, thought. So I have memories of this person with Christmas trees involved. Get out of it. What, am I destroying it or what? About the structure of destruction. Let's destroy this then. Haha. Try and like destroy. Such hard work though to destroy sometimes. Death. Just to make it no Christmas tree. No, you will not be a Christmas tree. That can't be good. I think I'm trying to help it be Christmas. No, no, Chris. How do you Christmas tree something? Right. Now, if I do that there, though, it's going to make it feel more Christmas tree-y. Now I'm making it more Christmas tree-y. Oh, Lord. Well, fine. You want to be a Christmas tree, do you? Fine, then. See if I care. Be a Christmas tree. Yeah. Blah. It's April. It's April. I don't want it to be a Christmas tree. It's April. We've had Easter as well, so there's no relevance. Oops. Let's just do random smiley face. Oh, I thought it was going to be a smiley face, but it's not. It's just a big blob of black. How can I un-Christmas tree this? Let's put that there. That's not. Well, but they could be baubles though, couldn't they? Yeah. This looks like a Christmas tree in the corner there as well. I keep saying the word Christmas tree. I've got to stop saying it now. Christmas tree. This attack. No more Christmas tree. No more nothing. Yeah. Let's black the whole thing off. So black could be, my feeling about black, the colour in art, is it's destructive, it's a feeling of pain, it's quite good for representing emotions like pain, trauma, pain, anger, even aggression. Black can be a very aggressive colour. It's oppressive as well. It just depends how you use it, obviously, and what you read into it, what you decide it to mean at any given time, and then you treat it as such. So, this is destructive. So at the moment, this is attempting to be destructive, I suppose. There's always something in you. Maybe you call it your God part, your spirit, your soul, or whatever. That is creating the intelligence. It's creating something that you're not actually in control of. So this can be seen when you make mistakes, for example. You can say, oh, that's the body. The body is like, you cannot control the body fully, so it makes mistakes. In every piece of artwork, you're going to have some part of it that is not, let's say, not to your fullest ability, because the point of the body is that it's flawed. It's not a perfect vehicle for anything. It's subject to decay, it's subject to injury, it's subject to pain, it's subject to fucking illness, isn't it? So, you know, you can't rely on your body. You won't be able to rely on your body forever because it will die. And that is manifested in us also falling over, making mistakes, unable to process certain things. You know, our minds don't work properly, we fall into learning problems, we don't remember things, blah blah blah. This is all like, it's just expressions of the sort of, what do you call it, imperfect nature of being human. There's nothing perfect, nothing will conform to our idea of it. We can never be fully complete as a body, as a computer, as a person. Why is this all there like that? And now here we're starting to suffer the limitations of the paints as well, because the paints are starting to run out. This is the tragedy of this limited rule-based approach, because now we've run out of black. Obviously I could change the rule at any moment and say, well, I just open another thing. We've got loads of them over there, I'm going to open another thing of black. But part of me really doesn't want to do that, because I've started this way of doing it now, and god damn it, I want to finish it in this way. So this means, again, for me right now, it's about accepting the limitations of life and working within them as best I can. There's always going to be some level of limitation in your life, whatever your situation. The final limitation is the death of the physical body. So whatever you think that you want to be able to do in your life, at some point you won't be able to do it anymore, because you'll be dead. Your body will turn into mush and off you go to do whatever happens next, if there is anything to do next. Maybe that's the point. Maybe at the end you go, can I be asked to do it again? Or do I really want to go somewhere else? Do I want to go to heaven, hell? Which heaven or hell do I want to go to? Maybe that's all the next thing is. It's just like, right, do I want to do anything else? Should I go back and do a few more lifetimes? Should I just repeat the same life over and over again? What do I want to do? Maybe death is a moment of choice. Or maybe it's just like you get to the end and you go, I don't want to do anything anymore. I'm out, I've finished, I've done it. I shall just remain as the deathness. I will become death instead. Ha ha. Oh, but that counts as doing something else. Oh no. I will just become nothingness. Maybe you get a choice. Yeah, maybe that is it. Maybe yeah. Maybe at death you're maybe at the point of death your whole next thing gets like next life or next experience or whatever gets informed, or you choose maybe you choose when you die, right at that moment you have a little moment, 5 minutes or whatever in the death realm, going, wow, how was that? Rubbish? Good? What should we do? Should we do it again? How was that? Maybe you choose in that moment. Let's just get this blue. Blue, is that good though? We could really like contrast this, because there's already blue there, but I've picked this up now, and now I'm in the back and forth between what do I want to do, and now I need to finish to talk about the afterlife. Blue, no, I don't want the blue, but it feels like it wants to be. All right, fine. Yeah, so maybe you get to choose in that like 5 minutes after death. You're like, right, what should we get up to now? And the next thing you get all the, it just or you don't get to choose, and it just conforms. Whatever happens next just conforms to what you believed most strongly as an aggregate of all your beliefs about death and the afterlife and la la la, whatever. How about the whatever comes next for you at that moment is the combined aggregate sum total of belief and energy about what happens next. So maybe you just create that next thing by the power of your manifestation abilities. Whoa. For example, let's say that I now magnetize myself for the rest of my life to believing a certain thing about the afterlife, or what happens next, a certain thing about death, and that when I get to that point, I actually do have the choice or the ability to then manifest that reality for me in the next one. So if I say, right, next time I have a life, I want to be born into the next life with a full and total memory of the previous life. So I could go in my next life and I'll just be born and I'll be like, oh, I remember being Ross. Total remembrage of Ross. And then I could prove in that next life that reincarnation is true. Why doesn't anyone do that? Huh? Maybe they have done it. Maybe someone just wants to commit to the idea of reincarnation and come back with a complete and total memory of themselves in their most recent pre-existence. It's an interesting thought. I was going to do this bit first. Okay, another rule that I go by generally is that the first impulse is the correct impulse, and quite often the fight, if you like, or the struggle, is to stop denying the first impulse. Usually, like at this time, I'm not really thinking about the impulse. If you start thinking about, was that the right thing, you've then lost it. But this, I'm not thinking about, you know, if I go left or right, should I be going up or down, you know. It's just let the body, let the paintbrush wibble away. Yeah. So, and that is the thing I was talking about earlier when I was saying, like, part of this whole thing is that there's this part of you, this intelligent part, which could be called the God part or the soul, that is taking over. And I'm trying to allow that part to take over, this non-conscious, non-decision making part, if you like. I'm not trying to decide which bit to do. It's like there's this higher power or whatever that is deciding it for me, and I just say yes to that as I go along. I'm like, yeah, okay, wants to be here, wants to move there, and in a sense, I'm just kind of get out my own way. Just like, you know, not putting too much thought in and no decision making. So I'm just trying to step back from the usual way of thinking about things, like planning and, well, I want to do this, I want to go there, I'd like to have it this way. what I'm attempting to do is to stand back and be more of an observer of what is happening. So just allow this to come through me in that way. Like, okay, there's a, you know, it's like an intuitive thing. It's just happening by itself almost. But I'm obviously aware that I'm the one doing it as well. I'm aware that this is my hand, my arm, my canvas, my paintbrush, but that I'm not thinking about each move that I'm making. I'm not considering beforehand, oh, maybe I should do you know, a big square in the middle. You see, I'm not thinking about anything at all before I do it. As you can see, I didn't think about that square. No, didn't say it at all. Of course not. But didn't even say anything about a square. What square? No square. There's no square at all. Why is there a square there now then? I didn't. There's no square. It's God doing that square. God did that square. You can't even see it anyway. Let's make it larger for you to see. I'm going to destroy it anyway. Can you see that? Yeah, kind of. So, you can't really see what I'm doing anyway, so what's the point of the video? Well, I think it's coming to an end. So, just destroyed what it was. How long is this? 36. Is it 36? Yeah. Could have been 38. I'm a bit blind at the moment. I only have eyes for the artwork. I can't be fiddling around on small numbers. I have to fiddle around with small aspects of consciousness. What's this? Oh, I did put a square in there. What's all this about? Wow. See, I try and please you people for 1 minute. What's that? Is that supposed to be there? Again, structure of destruction is revealing the shape of creation. So my primary goal at the moment is like covering up the stuff I don't like, but something is emerging. New patterns, new shapes. As you destroy the old thing, you're simultaneously creating the new thing. It's a marvelous, strange experience, because you're like, well, I just spent the whole time of this piece just hating it and destroying it. In fact, from the beginning, I was just destroying all the parts I didn't like. And what happened at the end was something came out that I did like, because I got to the point where I didn't feel like destroying it anymore. And that's the end. You're like, right, I've finished with it now, because I don't want to, like, there's nothing wrong with it anymore. Well, the parts that are wrong, it would be so annoying to destroy them that it's not worth it. So you could say this is how to destroy a piece until it's finished. How to murder your artwork until it's alive. There you go. How to kill your art until it comes alive. Put that in your brain. Put that in your brain and swirl it around for a while, and then realise that I'm some pretentious arsehole. Who cares? Whoa, I like that. Oh, but do I like it though? Do I like it? Is it wicked? It's looked very similar to how it used to look right at the beginning, which would be annoying. You know, you do all this work, it goes through millions of different iterations and forms, and then it just ends up being exactly the same as the first layer you did. You're like, I wasted a lot of time on that, didn't I? But it's like when you do anything and practice it and go over it, like a song, for example. Let's say you get a song, you first do it, you know what the song is, you've made the song, or you've just learned the song, whatever, and you're like, right, that's it, that's the main thing of what the song is. And then you repeat it, practice it, you know, you're making course corrections, trying to make it more accurate, trying to make it better, stronger, whatever, louder, more dynamic. You know, you're putting your conscious effort into improving your ability to play the song and to bring it into a state of fullness of some kind. But the underlying structure is the same the whole way through, because you're playing that song, you're not playing something else. Right? You may be bringing flavours of something else, right? But yeah, but then you get to the end of all that practice, you see, and although you're playing the same song, technically, it sounds a whole lot different. It's been transformed by your consciousness, by your effort, by your willingness to experiment, by your way of keep going at it. So whatever it was in the initial stage, you'd be like, yeah, it's the same song, but this one this version of it, this playing of it, is awesome compared with how it started. So that could be the same in this kind of thing. You work on something and work on something and work on something, and you're like, even though it turns out to have the same underlying structure as it always had at the beginning, this is a much more rich, textured, patterned, full, you know, inviting expression of what that is, or was, or was. Oh no, now I'm doing this. Pardon me. So, that's the blue. Whoa! Drop the paintbrush. Is that a sign from the universe to stop? No. If that happens again, though. I keep dropping things at the moment for no reason. But is it for no reason? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Okay. This bit needs something going on. Oh, maybe it's turning into the bird again. So, we've kind of turned it into the murkiness. Yeah. I think I'm going to let this video go to an hour. I don't know what you can see. Nothing. It just looks like nothing. Wow. Have a look. Yeah, nothing. Let's have a pause. I would usually pause, think about this kind of thing, because I'm a bit knackered anyway. And I would look at it. Now what I'm doing when I'm looking at it is I'm not necessarily thinking about what I'm going to do next or how it should be. I'm just trying to see what it is. I'm trying to look at it and go, what do I see? And try and clarify my perception of what's there. And I'm like, and it's also like a sense of healing the energy. So if there's any areas of vagueness that are on there, hey, the pattern from the one of the layers before is coming out. The flower, kind of a concentric flower. You probably can't see it, but there's this ring in the center there, and there's this expanding flowery cloud kind of thing. There seems to be coming into focus mostly here, but this is a bit vague still. And as I said earlier on, it's like, I'm going to bring the camera closer to it so you can see. As I said earlier on, it's sorry, I can do some of the work by just clarifying my perception and doing it mentally and emotionally and energy healing wise. But or I can do it with the paint. So let's look up close and see what we can see. It looks like murky thing, but it's quite shiny looking at it. Kind of looks like death in a sense. But how can death be shiny? Shiny death. So that's that middle part with the flower I was talking about. I don't know if you can see that or not. Meh. Trying to keep myself out of it. Let's go back in. So there's something in there, isn't there? Huh. Looks like a little face in there, or a frog or something. That's what I see anyway. That's a frog, that is. There's a frog in there, or a walrus or something. Anyway, carrying on up here. Oh, I'm bored of that now. Just thinking if I can change the angle to be better for you lot. But no, can't be bothered. It's taking too long, man. I'm trying to keep you guys entertained while I do this as well. So there's that. Okay, let's do some more. Brown. Well, yeah, one of the ideas was to bring it from darkness into lightness. So Brown would be a dark colour. Oh, well, I've said brown, so why don't I just quit hassling myself about it and just do it? Why don't I put that in the bin? So yeah, there's an interplay going on between the mind and the deeper parts. Mind, emotions, spirit, consciousness, whatever. So like I threw that in the bin. The whatever this is, tray. I threw the tray in the bin, and so I did that unconsciously. So maybe it wants to be in the bin, but then my mind says, I want that out of the bin. Why did I throw that away? Oh no, now I really am ruining it. It was good before. Oh God, it's this rule. Oh, it's creating a shape now. It's this rule that I have to keep doing it. Oh, what's this? It's that flower thing coming out. Can't see anything. Maybe me trying to show you will actually make me do it more formfully. What's this down here? Is that a buttock? Oh no. Eyes? Why is there sounds happening? Oh, battery level's low. Well, maybe I should stop then. Or maybe I should just plug my phone back in. I will try and stop talking a bit, because it would be nice for you to just have some peace time. What are these flowers? Eggs? Eggs! Eggs is a big thing for me at the moment. We've had the Christmas tree. I had eggs. There was a square in there a minute ago. Square. Oh, I don't want to put square in there. Now I've started, I have to finish it, don't I? Square is there. Holes there. Now remember, what did I say before? The structure of destruction reveals the shape of creation. So in a way, what I'm doing here is like, it's not really destroying actually anymore. I don't feel it to be a destructive feeling. It's more trying to bring shape to. However, I'm then going to have the impulse to destroy these shapes, which will reveal a new thing. Because there's a part of me that just doesn't like stuff that's so bold and shapy. Like, don't be so shapy. Stop being so liney and shapy. This is ridiculous, you know. I don't want to look at this like this. And there may come a time where the way I destroy things is by making it even more shapy. Yeah, yeah. So I destroy the emptiness of these shapes by filling them and bringing their shapiness into fulfillment. It's getting all abstract now, isn't it? Even I am doing abstract painting, to be fair. Abstract, emotional, healing, psychological. What's this? Get rid of that. Don't like that. Oh, you ruined everything. Ruining it all. Your whole life is ruined. You're ruining your life every time you do anything. Crossing it out. Shouldn't be there. Don't like it. Cross it out. Why would you make something if you're only to destroy it in the next moment? Why not? I have a really giant penis. And by penis I mean trust. My penis is average size, but my trust is giant. I trust in myself, I trust in the process, I trust in this deeper intelligence to work through me, I trust in the peace. This is actually starting to look better. Oops. I've got a mat thing down, a carpet mat. Okay, let's do some brownie outside, because I don't like this part. Then again, if the whole process is just an expression of what I don't like, surely the whole piece at the end of it, no one's going to like it, because it will just be resonating with the energy of I don't like. Maybe. But no, because it's a dual movement, isn't it? It's a two-pronged process. We move away from what we don't like, and we're creating what we do like. Again, it's back to this concept of the structure of destruction revealing the shape of creation. If you want to look at it in terms of, I did that by accident. There was no intentionality to that line. So I find it interesting how if I go like this, with seemingly like no sense, just then the next layer I do will be trying to account for the mess of that, which then sort of brings about more shapiness. So it's a constant two-pronged process, form and the formless. This you could say is a formless moment where I'm just like, senseless rage, kill the beast. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, I was about to start doing them things. Yeah, that's going in. Oh, I don't want to do that. Fine. Right. So, back to sensibleness. Okay. On another aspect, all paintings are just different ways of covering up a canvas or filling in a canvas, aren't they? Isn't that all we're doing? We're just painting is painting. There's nothing more to it than that. What are we doing? Painting. I'm painting. What are you doing? Painting as well. Haha. But you're Van Gogh. Yeah, but I'm still painting. Oh, but you're Picasso. Yeah, but I'm still painting. Oh, but you're Joe Bloggs. Yeah, but I'm still painting. Painting is painting, mate. Painting is painting. What are you doing? Decorating. Painting is decorating. Painting and decorating. Yeah, painting is painting. Painting is painting, isn't it? Painting is painting. I need to lie down. Brown layer 1. Brown layer 1. Brown layer 1. Don't start giving me Christmas tree ideas. Christmas tree. Okay, you piece. I may well have exhausted my energy. It's nearly an hour long, this video, and then I've got to upload it. Why do I do things? I wish I could just sit in a tub of my own piss and just be warm and quiet and restful for the rest of my life. And never have to do anything, but have the feeling of being in perfect contentment with that the whole time. Even when the piss gets cold a little bit, I'm still happy. That would be lovely. What am I saying? Structure of destruction reveals the shape of creation. Do 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 do. I'm a Christmas tree. I hope I haven't said anything like intensely offensive during this thing, because I've not really been controlling my lips very well. Buttocks. Watch out now, I'm starting to say really stupid words. Buttocks. Buttocks are plenty. What's this? There. It's different now. See, these could be flowers or something, I suppose. There could be little shocks of tree. Could be. Oh, tree again. Oh well. If it wants to be a Christmas tree, fine. Be a bloody Christmas tree. I'm starting to feel a bit of auric vibe going on up here. This feels like there's some like negativity up here in the head. Feels related to my head. A hotness up here. It's like on the forehead area. This feels like the forehead somehow. So when I'm painting this, it seems to. Well, it's not seeming to. It's directly related to a feeling I have in my forehead. So it's an expression of that feeling. Again, similar. This is moving down to my eyes now. There's patches I'm doing here. There is a representation of my eyes. Could end up being a self-portrait. Oh yeah, that's it. Eyes there. There's like a cloud of negativity over my eyes right now that I'm describing with the paintbrush. Describing. Let's do that. That's expanding over there as well. Again, all still related to my eyes. This now feels more like over my shoulders, left shoulder. Whenever I do anything that's got that auric feeling to it, the mirror, the piece is like a mirror. So the left side, as I look at it, corresponds to my left side on my body. Oh man, you're just getting a really great view of my butt the whole time. Fine. Maybe some of you have just been, that's what you've been looking at the whole time. You're like, yeah, it's just literally as though his arse is talking. He's talking out of his arse anyway, so let's just look at his bum and pretend his bum is doing the whole talking. Oh no! What's it now, huh? What is it now? In a way, I'm just trying to get rid of these crappy brown colours. Like, if I'm going to go through each tube, I don't really care about this colour. This colour's like a bit annoying. So I want to get to the good colours. You know, when you're like eating something, you always want to, you're kind of saving the good colours in a way. Good colours. You're saving the good bits of food. So you eat all the crappy stuff first, and then you're like, right, let's get in on the good stuff. People have different ways of eating stuff, don't they? So when I was a kid, I always like messed around with different ways of eating. It'd be like, should I eat the good stuff first, and then leave the bad stuff? Or I'll eat the bad stuff first, and then save the good stuff. Or I'll eat each one, a bit of one thing. And then it'd be like, I want to put one thing of each on my fork at the same time, sorry. Or it'd be like, before I eat it, I'll go round in a circle, and I'll go round the other way. Creative eating. And then, as we know, what we learned as adults now, after having experimented with all the different possible ways of eating, is to just go like this. Shove it in and carry on talking. If possible, if you can continue talking while eating, all the better. And preferably, only taste 1% of the taste available. There's a lot more taste going on in food. Oh yes. You don't actually have to go to any particularly fancy places to get good tasting food. You just get a normal bit of food and you just taste harder. You just taste it harder. You just really intensify. You go, right, I'm really tasting it. You like put your conscious effort into the tastage, and you really connect with the taste sensations that are there. You know, put your attention in the mouth area and the tongue, and you go, ooh, let's taste it hard. Let's taste it real hard. Taste it real good. And then you can have, it intensifies all the flavours just to do that, to put your consciousness in your mouth, really keenly focus on that area. And also what it does, strangely, is it makes the bad stuff taste less bad, because consciousness is non-judgmental in its essence. Consciousness just accepts everything that it experiences as what's going on. So when you bring your consciousness to your mouth as a tasting exercise, basically you taste what's there more clearly. And bad tastes tend to be, not all of them, but tend to be overall conditioned. You tend to have conditioned yourself to respond thinking that something is tasting bad, because you had one time where you felt it taste bad and you reacted against that when you were little. For example, I used to hate mushrooms. I used to hate onions. I used to hate leeks. Now, with three things that are actually some of my favourite foods. I love the taste of mushrooms, I love the taste of onions, and I love the taste of leeks. So what it is a judgment that you set up in the mind and the body to freeze your perception of a certain stimulus at a certain place in a negative way. What am I doing next? Green? Blue feels particularly destructive right now against this black, against this brown, whatever. Okay, I'm going to turn the video off. Again, leaving it in a state of crapness.